give me the robe, for I shall not take the shackles that subjugate the poor for the rich. Chances are you've probably heard that quote. And if not that one, how about this one? Take what you can, give nothing back. For centuries, and I mean centuries, pirates have been all over our world. From the Caribbean to the Indian Ocean, pirates have been feared, but also revered. There are documentations of pirates all the way back to 150 BCE, and that's in old texts, manuscripts, books, and even up to now with movies, TV shows, songs, among tons of other media. If you're like me, you probably spent years being fascinated by pirates and treasure. I know from a very early time I was fascinated and the ocean called my name. I wanted nothing more than to be scouring the coastlines, taking in the scenery, and searching for Spanish galleons. For a girl growing up in the Yukon, the ocean seemed like a far-off dream. I would spend my summers in the Pacific watching the waters and dreaming of being taken away on an old ship. I used to fall asleep to the sounds of Tim Curry laughing alongside Gonzo as they hunted for buried treasure in the Muppets remake of Treasure Island, a classic tale written by Robert Louis Stevenson. I grew up with the tales of Blackbeard and his dreaded looks, the Dread Pirate Roberts and his creed, Captain Kidd and their buried treasure, as well as queens of the ocean like Anne Bonny and Mary Read. As I got older, I wanted more, and as more content became available to me, like Pirates of the Caribbean, I wanted nothing more than to be Elizabeth Turner, whisked away on a ship, searching for buried treasures and fighting pirates alongside two of my best friends. Hell, I even have 2 pirate-themed tattoos. Now, when you think of pirates, most people jump straight to the Caribbean, or maybe the Mediterranean seas, and hell, can you even call yourself a pirate if you don't like rum? But what most people don't know is that Newfoundland is actually one of the most pirate-friendly places in North America. From the likes of Peter Easton to Black Bart, the Cobham duo, and an Irish princess who fell in love with a pirate and settled here, Newfoundland is completely drenched in pirate history. Most pirates started the same way, as privateers for the crown, sailing the ocean and taking down anybody who stood in their way legally to protect ships and ports. But as things changed, as they do, they turned to a life of piracy and eventually settled in France. Now, nobody really knows where the beginning of Newfoundland's pirate history starts, but one that everybody can agree on is definitely Peter Easton. Easton was one of the most famous English pirates with lineage dating all the way back to the Crusades. He was considered one of the most notable, controlling the waters from Ireland, Newfoundland, and all the way to Guinea. With his notability, every head of state knew exactly who he was, and the truth is, nobody could take him or capture him. Despite his naval efforts in Venice, the Strait of Gibraltar, the Azores, and off the coast of Barbary, Peter Easton is most notable for his contribution to Newfoundland. Today I find myself in Harbour Grace, first settled in 1517 by King Francis I of France and officially founded in 1583. Long before Jamestown and the lost colony of Roanoke, Harbour Grace is cited as the first permanent English settlement in North America. Now, I love Harbour Grace for a number of reasons, not to mention the old architecture, the area itself, and the total amazing tales of fairies and other lore. But my other favorite thing about Harbour Grace is pirates. and I think you might be able to guess why next. In 1602, Peter Easton was contracted by Queen Elizabeth I to protect the fishing ships of Newfoundland so that they could safely carry cargo through the bays. Sailing his ship, the Happy Adventure, donned with the Cross of St. George, Easton ruled the waters of Newfoundland, legally taking down anybody he wished, especially the Spanish, and pressuring anybody he could into joining his crew. That is until June 23rd of 1604, when King James succeeded the throne. King James sued the Spanish for peace and canceled all letters of commission, including Easton's. Not liking that very much, Peter Easton decided to continue attacking ships and leave a life of privateering for a life of piracy. He moved through the Mediterranean and West Indies for 6 years before returning to the Bristol Channel off the coast of England on behalf of the Killigrews family, effectively controlling all of the western ports of England. In 1612, Peter Easton moved back to Harbour Grace and actually set up shop. Now, there is much debate as to whether or not his fort was actually a fort or if it was just an area protected by cannons. No matter how or where he set up, Peter Easton was a very integral part of the establishment and continuing legacy of Harbour Grace. Easton settled homes in other places like Fairyland and Odorn Islands, securing his position by protecting small towns and their fishing fleets, and basically controlling where people can and can't settle. Odorn Island provided the perfect hideout for Easton due to the mountainous cliffs providing perfect shelter for his masts from anyone's view out on the open ocean. After a year of plundering, Easton moved to the Villafrance after the Duke of Savoy decreed that the port offer asylum to any and all pirates who wished to live there. A deal was made, and after a few raids, Peter Easton married an heiress and became a Marquis of the Duke of Savoy, which he stayed in that position until his death around 1620. Now, I mentioned that Newfoundland is deep-rooted in pirate lore and history, so let's take a hop, skip, and a jump down the shore over the harbor to Carbonear. Welcome to Carbonear. Settled in 1631, Carbonear has its own story of pirates. Although there is no documented fact, but through research of my own, as well as others on Ancestry and other websites, we might actually have Peter Easton to thank for this one. At some point during his voyage from England to Newfoundland in 1602, we know that Peter Easton captured a Dutch warship that had recently captured an Irish ship on its way for France. Upon the ship, as we know her, was Sheila Nigira, the legendary daughter of King John O'Connor of Ireland, who was an Irish nobleman. During the trip, Sheila fell in love with Peter Easton's lieutenant, Gilbert Pike. Easton married the two lovebirds before they hit land on Mosquito Point, which is now known as Bristol's Hope. At some point, to escape being a pirate, they ended up actually moving to Carbonear and settling down. Now, I did mention that they were legendary, and that's for a very good reason. There is no actual documentation that Sheila Nigira or Gilbert Pike ever existed in Carbonear or at all. So, who were these legendary people? Nobody really knows. The first mention of a pike was Thomas Pike in 1681, but nobody actually knows where the rest of his family is from. The legend of Sheila and Gilbert has been part of the oral history of the Pike legacy in Carbonear for years, including this, the site of the supposed grave of Sheila, as well as John and Julia Pike, who, if to say the stories are real, would make them Sheila's great-great-grandchildren. So who's to say she isn't a real person, and maybe, just maybe, my fiance is actually related to them. But the story doesn't stop here. So come on, let's go. Now let's talk about superstitions for a minute. There was a pirate code set apart by Bartholomew Roberts, and while each ship had their own code, kind of like Gibbs from NCIS, there was one rule that rang true for every single ship. No women on board. While there were female pirates, most under the guise of male drag, but one woman, Canada's very own pirate queen Maria Lindsay Cobham, was very much a woman manning her own Black Pearl. Terrorizing the Gulf of St. Lawrence, Maria and her husband Eric were treacherous pirates during the 17th century. Maria was slated to be one of the most sadistic and cold pirates out there, from poisoning crew members and throwing them overboard to watch them drown in pain, to sewing everybody in sacks just to watch them struggle as they sunk to the bottom of the ocean. There's no doubt that she was one of the most feared pirates in Newfoundland's history. Their motto was very much "leave no survivors," and considering she even used sailors as target practice, it really rang true. They eventually retired to a small estate in France at the suggestion of her husband. Now, there's much speculation as to whether or not they were actual pirates who took down ships or if they were just shipwreck hunters. Either way, they did make quite a fortune and a name for themselves. Now, it is said that after a while she did poison herself and throw herself off of the cliffs near their estate in France, and most of the tales is that she just couldn't live with the grief and bear the guilt of all of the people and evil things that she had done in her past. Later, after her death, her husband Eric apparently called for a priest to come to his deathbed side so that he could confess to their life of piracy. I've spent a lot of this talking about pirates that most of you have probably never heard of. But how about our final one? Any self-respecting person can probably remember watching The Princess Bride and hearing the tale of Wesley being captured by the Dread Pirate Roberts, right? Well, what if I told you that the Dread Pirate Roberts was a real pirate? Like a legit pirate. John Roberts, who was a Welsh pirate, better known later on the waters as Bartholomew Roberts, and further on afterlife as Black Bart or the Dread Pirate Roberts, was one of the most successful pirates to ever sail the waters throughout Brazil, the Caribbean, and even Newfoundland. On June 21st of 1720, the Dread Pirate Roberts raided the town of Trepassey after hitting Fairyland, and 2020 marked the 300-year anniversary. Although it did fall on Father's Day, I was still able to get out and do an investigation underneath the full moon, and let me tell you, it was quite interesting. So tonight, we actually got a really special, exciting part of this documentary going on. It's June 21st, 2020, and it is actually officially the 300-year anniversary of Bartholomew Roberts' raid on the harbor of Trepassey. So that is where we are today. Tonight, it's already dark out. It's like almost 10 o'clock at night. And it's also summer solstice, which means that everything is kind of lower. The veil is definitely a lot thinner tonight as well. And there was a solar eclipse at like 1 o'clock this morning. So I'm hoping that with all of that combined with all of the stuff that we brought tonight, maybe, just maybe, we might get some evidence of somebody still being here, and who knows, maybe we will actually get in contact with Bartholomew Roberts himself. So a little bit of a background on this area. This area has been around on maps forever. I mean, obviously once they started doing them, it was here. Trepassey was originally known by the Portuguese in the early 1500s as the River of Roses. I don't know why, don't ask me. But eventually it started becoming known as the Bay of Death. There were a lot of shipwrecks here between Cape Pine and Cape Race, and just this entire area was always riddled with trouble, whether it was raids from pirates or random ships being wrecked because of storms or freak accidents. It didn't really matter, but this area was absolutely treacherous. So, back on June 21st of 1720, Bartholomew Roberts, also known as the Dread Pirate Roberts or Black Bart, although that name wasn't used for him during his actual lifetime, it was coined after he died, made one of his last great raids. I totally just saw a light over there. Made one of his last great raids here in the Bay of Trepassey, and I'm super stoked. Apparently when he showed up on that day, he had already raided Fairyland, which is about 20 to 30 minutes up the road from here, and made his way down towards Trepassey. He found 172 ships in the harbor, so 150 fishing ships and 22 merchant ships, one of which had over 22 cannons on board. And he ended up taking on the entire fleet of ships by himself. Quite literally came in, black sails flying, took out absolutely everybody except for a handful of ships, and went on his way. That's a pretty amazing feat if you ask me. So behind you guys right now is the larger side of the bay. We're actually at the lighthouse, which is over there. And I promise that wasn't the light I just saw. It was lower down in the field. And then the other side of the bay is actually just over the hill here. So we're kind of in the middle of where all of the cannon fire and screaming and yelling and shouting would have been. I don't know how I feel about it tonight. I'm really excited, and I really hope, because I'm cold already, that we do get something. We've brought quite a few things with us in hopes to capture some form of activity or responses. So come with me. I brought my trusty handy dandy fluorite pendulum again as well. It's not really windy tonight, which is really great because that should give about better answers. I have my handy dandy EMF detector, which also tells the temperature, which I've never used before in an investigation. So I'm really excited to use this tonight. Again, my trusty old iPhone that has no service whatsoever. So once I power that up, I'm going to be setting it down just to record everything in case something does come through and talk to it. And then we also decided to bring trigger objects. So this sword I have had probably 4 or 5 years now. I bought it off of eBay. I don't know if it's a replica or if it's real. I don't really care. It's a trigger object. It looks very piratey. So I'm really excited about this one. We also have a couple of things in the car as well, just in case we need them. Oh, you do have one out here? So this is one of the things that we brought with us. This little baby says Victorian Marine Telescope. It was made in 1915 in London, and I actually bought this for Megan 4 or 5 years ago at a market. So we've got this little baby as well. So hopefully between this and the veil being down and just really opening ourselves up, we'll be able to communicate with some pirates tonight. I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I love pirates way too much for this. Yeah, so I'm gonna power up my iPhone just because I charged it and then turned it right off so the battery wouldn't drain. We also well, Megan was getting something out of the car and felt like the weird feeling of being watched, and happened to look up and there was a red fox wandering around. So he's over there somewhere. I don't know where, but I have always had red fox show up when things that are good are about to happen or are supposed to happen. So fingers crossed that means something good is going to happen tonight. Okay, so I'll show you guys if it even focuses. Ignore all of the notifications. But you can see there's no SIM card. There's absolutely no service whatsoever. Okay, so I'm just going to turn on the voice memo. And I'm just gonna hit record and let it do its thing. And we're just gonna leave it until we're done and see what happens. So I'm just gonna leave this baby here. Maybe. That was mildly precarious. And yeah, so I guess I'm just gonna start off. If there's anybody here who wishes to talk to us, my name is Amber. That's Megan behind the camera. We're the only ones here. We are not here to hurt you. We just want to talk. I invite absolutely anybody, whether you were merchants, fishermen, pirates on the ship, or anything like that, to come and talk to us. I would love to hear anything from any of you. And Bartholomew Roberts, if you're here, if you have come back to one of your last great raids before your untimely death in February of 1722, please come and talk to us. There's a little device over here, and you can actually talk into it and answer any questions or say anything you want to. And yeah, feel free to come touch the sword or the scope. Touch one of us. Whisper in our ear. We'd love that. Yeah. So I'm gonna power this guy up. Oh, she cold.
I believe that.
See if it actually shows it on here. So a full battery, it's 9.2 degrees out Celsius right now. So freaking cold. If it drops any lower than that, it'll be kind of harder to tell because it is just getting colder and colder. But if there's any like drastic temperature fluctuations, I think that'll be kind of a sign. I've also put it on the milligauss setting. And as you can see, like, I don't give off any EMF. Even the iPhone's not really giving off anything, but when it gets really high, this thing literally screams at you. If it goes over, I think 3, it actually starts like screaming and it flashes red and like gets really annoying. So if anybody is here, feel free to come near this device in my hand. You can go near it and just put your hand around it or stand in front of me, and it will actually register your energy or your presence. So for those of you at home, obviously you can't tell because you're not here, but there's literally nothing around us. There's a lighthouse over here, and then the closest house is maybe 2 kilometers away. So there's power running out to the lighthouse and the lightkeeper's house, but otherwise there's nothing out here. There shouldn't be anything that's interfering with the electromagnetic fields without being something strange. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of want to go for a walk, but it's really dark out and I just don't want to trip and fall on my ass.
I have a flashlight in my pocket.
That is true. Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna put this bad boy in my pocket. So yes, in case you're wondering, it is a real sword. It's very much metal. It is real.
I stopped recording. So I literally looked over here and thought I saw 2 people walking along the fucking edge of the land here. while you were talking.
All right.
And watch the sky. Just watch it. You'll see it. That. You can see the lighthouse. That was a lighthouse.
Yeah, the light I saw was over here. And it was down here.
I believe that. I completely, actually. But yeah, I seriously turned to kind of look behind me because I'm like, it is getting darker. Like,
Yeah.
I keep hearing things and it sounds like big thumps. Like, almost like a car door slamming or like something like that. Like, it sounds like a big thump, and I don't know if it's just the waves hitting rocks certain, like, ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I seriously have heard it, like 3 times now. Total. So not, like, constantly.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, like, just a massive thump. And I'm like, it's like an impact of some sort. Yeah, it's really weird. But yeah, I turned to fucking look behind me while I was standing here. Because I'm just like, okay, like, I keep looking around a little bit. Because I know once I have it in position, like, as long as I'm not really moving, the camera's not gonna, like, stray.
Yeah.
So I looked around, and I literally looked behind me. And as I did, there were 2 shapes down at the fucking end of the land here, walking that way. It looked like 2 people. Yeah. So, I also keep thinking I'm hearing something over here. And I hope it's the fox. But whatever it is, I keep hearing it and it's scaring the shit out of me. Because I'm just like, I'm kind of here and I'm like, I can see everything going on behind you, but you can't see anything behind me at all. That's the problem. So I'm like, it's not so bad because I'm like, yeah, I can see stuff behind you. Like, because I'm not looking through the screen.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you usually. And yeah, I keep like looking, being like, okay, I can see like a lot going on back here. That thing gives off a lot of light.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm blinding you. You can't see anything if it comes up behind me.
Nope. No, I can't.
That sucks. Because I keep fucking hearing shit kind of over here. And I'm like, it's right behind me. We can walk up to the lighthouse. We should be able to anyway.
I literally looked over as you were like explaining things over there, and I literally watched this big black shape go that way, and I was like, I don't want to walk that way now.
When I was explaining things over here?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, seriously though, dude? Yeah, that scared the shit out of me. And that tree over there is bothering me. I think it's a tree. I think it's a tree.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of just wanting to stay right here.
I know, right?
Fuck
I'm
the
like,
walk.
seriously? Like, unless we get in the car and just drive up a little bit so we can see both sides of the bay, but like, seriously, I'm like, what is happening here? It started getting darker and things started getting louder for me. I just saw a light out there. Like, literally straight out from my finger on the water. Just a little, like, yellow, orange light. And I just saw another one over there.
I just saw an orb.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what it looked like, but it was out on the water. Okay. Filming this on normal, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? Oh, I don't like standing in front of the light. I can't see anything anymore.
Yeah.
Literally stepped out and it's nothing but black, and I'm like, nope, I don't like being in front of the light. Yeah, okay, so what exactly is our plan? You heard that, right?
Which one?
The scream?
No.
Really? Okay, that was a bird. And then you can be... Seriously. Over here. So if there is any weird stuff behind you... You can hear that, right?
Oh my god.
Okay, no word of a fucking lie. I swear I just heard cannon fire. That way.
This is gross. This is so gross.
That's gross.
Just everything. Everything feels gross right now.
Yeah, it's mildly creepy.
Okay, so you guys are positioned on top of my car because we decided that going for a walk was a bad idea. We kind of stopped recording and started talking about like where to go, what to do, where we were doing all of these things. And literally, as that was happening, Megan could see two figures walking behind us. There was also the light that I saw over in the field. There was also a big black shape that walked across the road a little ways ahead of us that I was like, nope. We're in Newfoundland. We are on the Avalon Peninsula. We don't have to worry about bears here, but moose, coyote, fox, yes. I don't worry about the dogs. Moose are terrifying. And I say that in the most nicest way, but they are fairly large creatures and they are quiet as hell. But whatever I saw moving across the road was none of the above. It was very fast, but very large. It was probably the size of my car, and it was quite large. While we were trying to get everything situated, I don't think you guys can see it. The ocean is literally behind me on this side. And way off in the distance, we can actually see the light on the lighthouse from Cape Race every time it spins. So if you see a random flash that looks like a big beam behind me, if it's really faint, it's probably the lighthouse. It just happened. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it did just happen. And I can't tell if there's a fire or something happening over there. It's not constant, but there's a little yellow light on the opposite coastline that keeps shining and flickering. But that being said, both of us have now seen lights and orb-like lights out on the water in the opposite direction. And from Trepassey facing out this way, there's nothing. It is literally open ocean. There's absolutely nothing out that direction. So it's very strange to be seeing lights. Of course, it might be ships. There could be tankers. We drove through here a few days ago and there was a tanker off in the bay. But it's pretty rare and it wouldn't just flicker. Those lights are pretty constant, especially in the dark. Yeah. On top of that, Megan also heard a scream as well as the sounds of what could have been cannon fire. So, obviously, this is a good idea, but also a very, 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 very terrifying one. Newfoundland is absolutely known for its fairy culture as well. So, we also have to be very wary of that. People have gone missing from fairy incidents. So, that's where we're at. The voice recorder has still been going this entire time. The sword is over here on the trunk of the car, and it's... What?
My flashlight keeps doing like weird things. That. It keeps dulling on me.
I don't know.
But only since I walked over here.
I don't know.
Like literally it's fine when I backed up, and then when I started walking this way, it like started getting dull. It doesn't like right here. I don't know why. Like there's nothing here. Okay.
Either way, the sword has the EMF detector on it, so we will all hear it if it goes off. And Megan is filming on a separate camera, so she'll be closer and faster to get to it with an actual view if it does start going off. So, time for questions. Yeah. So, I just want to ask anybody, we're not here to hurt you. We are not here to impede on your existence. We just want to know that you are here and pass on any messages, deliver any messages that you want the world to know. Please do not hurt us. We are not looking to be hurt or damaged in any way. We are not looking to scare you. Yeah. Are there any pirates here who were lost during Bartholomew's raid on the bay?
Jesus. That might have been me.
Told you it was loud.
I was moving it, so that was probably just me.
Why do you have high EMF?
I'm haunted. I don't know.
I literally can't set that thing off for the life of me. You pick it up and it's like, what?
I don't know. It might... Oh, no, it wasn't my flashlight. Hold on. I don't know. Okay, really? Okay, I have no idea because it's not doing anything now.
All right.
Okay, yeah, no, that's weird.
Did you like being a pirate?
Dude, my flashlight's going crazy.
You didn't hear that?
No. What did you hear?
It sounded like something dropped behind me.
Oh. No, I did not hear that. Is that why you turned around so fast?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Oh my god, I don't think I can feel my fingers.
Okay, you can still see behind me from where you are, right?
Behind you? Like, over beside me?
No, like this way.
In front of you? Yeah.
Yes, in front of me, but behind me when I stand in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, why?
Just making sure.
Yeah, I can. Oh my god, my fingers are frozen.
Okay. I really hope I caught that. Because, yeah. Whatever it was, it sounded like somebody stepped behind me in the grass over here, or like dropped a rock, or like scuffed really loudly. The only thing I could even like equate it to is like, you know, when you go and you kick like dead grass and it makes that like sound? That's what it sounded like. So that's great. Is that you?
Freezing my ass off? Yes. I started shivering.
Okay.
I can't feel my fingers.
Yeah. I don't know what else to ask. Do you want to ask any questions? Is there anything I should ask?
I don't know. Was it this cold when you were here?
Yeah, it's June. Was it 9 degrees when you were here?
7.8.
Oh, it's dropped 2 degrees.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if my phone says the same temperature?
I don't know. Phones are just based on the weather app, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, it says it's 8 degrees. So.
Oh my god. Cannot for the life of me feel my fingers.
I don't know. I think we should just get right to it. Bartholomew Roberts, are you here? The Dread Pirate Roberts. For those of you who might not know, the Dread Pirate Roberts in The Princess Bride, one of my all-time favorite movies, is actually Bartholomew Roberts. He's one of the most well-known pirates for starting the pirate creed, for having his codes of conduct, for living on his ship. He was a very big believer in superstitions. So no women were allowed on board, no boys under a certain age were allowed on board. You never settled a debt on board. You always did it on land. So if you had a beef with somebody, you figured it out the next time you made port, and otherwise you dealt with like your BS on deck and quietly. Yeah, some people say he was pretty strict, and honestly, it wouldn't really surprise me if he looked at people and said, have a nice sleep, I'll most likely kill you in the morning. Because really, he was a pirate. Now, I don't know. I have always been fascinated with pirates, as you've been finding out through this entire documentary. And I love living on the ocean now. So the potential of capturing evidence actually related to pirates is really exciting to me. And not having to go to the Caribbean, although it would be much warmer than here.
My flashlight freaks out every time I point in this direction.
I don't know.
I don't know. There's also being...
Did you just hear that?
No. What'd you hear?
It sounded like a really muffled musket shot.
You will not go in focus. Come on, focus. Sort of better, but not really. What the hell was that?
What?
It sounded like something hitting metal or, yeah, a musket shot.
Yeah.
Like, there shouldn't be anything up at the lighthouse. And this thing has been stagnant at 0 aside from the one time it screamed, which, by the way, it went up to 5.
Well then.
Yeah, and I couldn't make it do it again.
Do you want to hand it over?
Sure. My flashlight's dying, apparently. Like, straight up, look at this. Look at this. Okay.
Oh God. I'm back. Okay, so I've got the EMF detector.
What is that? My flashlight's like just about dead. No light for me, apparently.
I have the EMF detector. It is still at 0. I don't know if you guys can... Yeah. It's still at 0. It's still at 7.8. And I really wish I could, like, have something to put it against. Like... My phone is... There we go. So my phone is showing 11.2. When it actually...
I gotcha.
Yeah. So...
What the hell was that?
5.8.
What the hell was
but my
that?
phone was over here.
Check the car.
The car's off.
Here,
so
like, come over. Like...
The car's off.
Okay. Well... It's a
So,
little weird.
I'm just gonna stand right here.
What's going on with the fucking camera?
Away from that camera, away from... My phone is in my pocket, but, like... I'm just gonna hold it up here. Megan's over here.
Hopefully out of shot.
You are.
Good.
I'm literally the only thing in focus. It is pitch black around me.
Yeah, it's really dark.
It's a really clear night as well, so that does like have a factor in. So I ask again, Bartholomew Roberts, if you are here, please walk up to my right side. I have a little device in my hand. Don't be frightened, although I'm sure nothing could frighten you. You're a freaking pirate. And go ahead and touch it. Up here, it'll make a noise. Don't be startled by it. That's what it's supposed to do. So yeah, if you can walk up and touch the EMF detector, let us know that you're here. Was the temperature fluctuating at all when you had it over there?
It did around the time that it freaked out. Hold on. There we go. Come on. There we go. No, what are you doing? There we go. My God. It like went really out of focus and zoomed all weird. It was fluctuating. See, it's actually doing it a little bit now. Honestly, if I was seeing it right, it was going from 7.8 to 8.8 and like flip-flopping constantly.
I haven't seen it go up that high. It's gone up to 8.2.
After it freaked out, it stayed at 7.8 and didn't move. I filmed it the whole time, so.
Did you enjoy being a pirate?
It is actually fluctuating quite a bit now, eh? God. This thing just really doesn't like focusing. You are way blown out. You're practically glowing. Does that help?
Did you like it here? You were one of the very few pirates that actually sailed through the Caribbean that came up here.
Crazy? Come here. Come here, let your eyes adjust. What is that? Okay, can you see?
More or less.
There's white up there. Is there something there? Like, are there rocks up there?
Okay, I can't see that. I just see the black shape.
Okay, so there's like, where it's kind of lighter here.
Yeah.
Over a little bit, there's like white. Like, at the top of it.
I don't see what.
You're making me feel super crazy.
We're not crazy.
I'm just like, I can't tell if that's actually here or if it's across the bay. And like, I swear to God, I saw something move and I seriously just started seeing a third one. Oh, I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. I'm crazy. They're probably rocks. No, they're probably rocks. It's just, I can't see anything. And the flashlight wasn't even going that far. You're not gonna...
No.
No, the light's not gonna go that far.
Dip into the car. We can at least warm up. I'm freezing. I can't feel my fingers.
Okay, so we dipped into the car because it's cold and burr. And yeah, it's kind of safer in here. It was starting to get really weird. I'm sure you'll hear it because I'll have like the footage from Megan's camera. Don't think you stopped recording.
No, I didn't start recording until we were in the car.
So you'll see that part of it after she called me away. Right as my eyes like finally adjusted and we decided to get into the car, I did start seeing something over there, but it was really hard to tell what it was. And like right as we were like, okay, let's get into the car, she started seeing 3 of that thing, and I saw a really quick flash of the 3. So I'm just gonna get in the car and hang out here. I instantly locked the doors as soon as we got in. So there's that. Yeah. Megan has her tarot cards here, so she's gonna...
You can just ignore my tarot cards. I'm just gonna pull a card every time you ask a question.
She's gonna be doing some sly things over here every time I ask a question. And I'm actually gonna use my pendulum at the same time to get 2 answers, I guess. So for both of us, we actually both really love doing tarot card readings and like questioning. We've done it quite a bit over the last few months with certain things, and questions seem to be pretty accurately answered. So I'm really excited to see what happens. The EMF detector is set up in front of me, and so far car is much warmer than outside. And it's picking up a little bit of signal from the car because I mean the car is running, which hopefully isn't too loud for you guys. It's a pretty quiet car, but it's not constantly beeping. Like the EMF isn't really picking up anything that's here in the car that's making it go off, at least not high enough that like it's gonna start yelling at me. So yeah, I'm gonna calibrate this baby first. So again, you ask a yes or no question that you know the answer to, so it calibrates which direction means what answer. So I guess the first one is, am I 26? Okay, come on, I'm not lying about my age here. Am I female? That would be a yes. So back to front is yes. I'm gonna be sore by the end of this one. Steady yourself. Do I like mushrooms? It's going back and forth really, really slowly and tiny. So that's a no. Don't like mushrooms, don't at me. Are there any pirates here who wish to talk? Bartholomew Roberts, are you here? Is anybody here? Were you involved in the raid on Trepassey in 1720? I'm getting a really small baby no. Did you live here? If you need extra energy to move anything, set off the EMF detector, or anything like that, feel free. We might not have a lot left, but we do have some. Was your ship destroyed? What?
Just the symbolism on the card is a ship.
Okay. Do you wish to talk to us at all? What answer did you get?
I'm not reading them right now, just pulling them.
Did you like living here? You know, I hear pirates are pretty big talkers when it comes to boasting about their exploits. Why don't you want to say anything now? Are you scared? Are you upset with the way that you were killed? So for those of you, if you've watched my night shift episodes, you'll know that I've used the pendulum before in certain episodes and in, you know, very non-windy places and gotten very definite answers. So this is being extremely stable and not giving me anything. So whether that just means that there's nothing here or there is stuff here that just doesn't want to communicate given everything else that we've seen outside and experienced tonight, I don't know. If you could get on a ship and go raiding again, would you? Was it worth it? Are you happy that your crew fulfilled your final wishes of throwing your body into the ocean, never to be found? Did you ever want a family? Can you give us any sign that you're here? Move the pendulum. Speak into the microphone on that phone or the one on the camera. Set off the EMF detector. Do you want us to leave? Absolutely nothing. Like, nothing. I don't think I've ever seen the pendulum be that dead.
No.
Like, usually there's something, even if it's not like the person you're calling forward or something, like you can usually like get something to answer. And like, the car wasn't even moving the pendulum.
No.
Like, this car is on and running, and even when it was like idling on high, the pendulum was not moving.
I don't know.
It's strange.
Especially when it felt like there were things happening outside.
It's like we haven't done anything to this car. This car I got last year. I've owned it almost a year now, filming this. And I haven't done anything to like protect it by any sense of the imagination. Like, I haven't had any crystals in it at all. Like, I don't have anything that I normally would in my vehicle to, you know, have a little bit extra protection or anything like that. Like, I have nothing in here. So by all means, something could literally just come into the car. Like, there's literally nothing blocking it off. So, and I don't know if they're just mad at us because I told them they weren't allowed to hurt us. Like, sorry, but no. Good luck with that. But like, I've never had the pendulum just not move. Usually like a question gets answered. And usually it's, do you want us to stay? Like, usually a question will get answered, but like, that question didn't even get answered. Nothing got answered. This hasn't gone off. We're gonna have to go through the footage and actually review everything with your tarot cards to see if any answers maybe corresponded with what I asked or anything like that. But like, with everything that was going on outside, hearing what sounded like musket shots and like, and for those of you who've been around long enough in all of this, you know that we go into every situation really open-minded and really like, yeah, we know the folklore and the background and the story and the history and the blah 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 blah, but we're not gonna lie on camera and say, oh, I heard cannon fire, oh, I heard a musket shot. Like, I'm not here to do that. This isn't about that. This is getting legitimate evidence of things happening and being present. There's no use in lying. That doesn't get us anywhere in the field.
I was so skeptical any of those noises could be explained.
Well, exactly. Like, there was, when we first showed up, there was the ringing, and it kept sounding like something hitting metal, like constantly, like somebody just like banging away on like a blacksmith kind of thing. But there's a flagpole up by the lighthouse, and the chain on the flagpole could easily just be blowing in the wind. It's pretty rhythmic, so it makes sense. Like, I'm the first person, and so are you, to go and explain away absolutely everything. Like, just because we believe that the paranormal exists and that there are things out there, it doesn't mean that that's everything all the time. Like, both of us are the first people to like find the alternate explanations and figure out what the other options are before we're like, is the ghost. So yeah. I don't know, like, it's just, it confuses me when like you saw shadows
very clearly too,
and like,
but only for a split second,
and once my eyes adjusted, I saw a shadow, and like, there's nobody out here. Like, we didn't drive by any vehicles.
And it was bigger than the fox.
It was much bigger than the fox. It was about the size of the car.
Well, mine wasn't. Mine looked like 2 people.
But like, there's just nothing. Like, there's everything, because apparently it's supercharged outside. Like, I don't know what the heck stepped behind me, but that was terrifying. And like, it's not that I felt threatened, but it was startling. Because it's like a few hundred feet and down to the ocean behind me. Like, there's nothing, there's no road that comes up behind me. Like, there's nothing that something could like sneak up behind me aside from a fox. And there's nothing there.
No.
And it sounded like it was like 3 feet behind me. Like somebody just like stepped behind me and was like, I'm here. And I'm like, okay. Cool. Can you say something? Like, I don't know. It's weird. But I'm excited. I'm glad we came out here. I am. I'm really glad we came out here, given that it was Father's Day and we had all day spent with family, and then calling my family across the country and throwing all of that into here. Like, I'm glad we made it happen, because I mean, I knew, what, a week ago I had said like, oh, it's really sad that it happens on Sunday, and like I didn't really register that. I was just like, oh, the anniversary is on Sunday and like it's Father's Day, so we're not going to be able to make it. Like, we have to go, you know, an hour and a half out of town to go see like Megan's family, and then it was still another 2-hour drive out to Trepassey after that, and we're like, with how late we'll be there, it's just not going to work and it's not really worth it. And then I was looking into it a couple days ago and I looked at Megan and I was like, it's a 300-year anniversary, literally, this year. And literally that night, we were both like, everything gets charged, everything's getting put in the bags. Like, we were just planning on coming here anyway, eventually. But to do it on the 300-year anniversary of the raid, it's something else. And like, Newfoundland as a whole is something else. Like, I say that with all the love, but Newfoundland is a whole nother beast in terms of folklore and pirates and rum running and like, yeah, the energy was definitely high. Even just coming out here, it was already high. Any thoughts?
It would have been nice to see a pirate.
You hear that? All of you other pirates out there?
It would have been nice to see a pirate, but I don't know, I was kind of hoping for a little more activity. It was pretty calm, because anything, that happened outside the car could just be explained away probably, like, unless we actually caught voices or anything in the recordings or actually caught anything on film. Like, I don't think there's really actually anything that like really happened. Yeah, it looked like I saw 2 shadows, and there's definitely no rocks or trees down there at all.
At all. It's literally clear straight out view to the beach.
So that was kind of weird, but I mean, also that time of night, like maybe it was just my eyes playing tricks on me. Like, I'm definitely the first one to say, like, it could be just,
well, yeah,
some random weird thing that it likely isn't paranormal. It's probably just something that you can easily explain away. So I don't know if we actually got anything, or if, we're just being crazy, and maybe it was just our own emotions were kind of heightened just from being out here and knowing what it was. And
there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that Newfoundland has so many more stories to tell. It was once described as the perfect nursery school for pirates in training, and it seems to be the ultimate truth. There are lesser-known tales of pirates all over the island, from ghost ships to screaming skulls and buried treasure. One thing's for certain, pirates found a connection to this island, and I, for one, can agree. It's an undeniable calling in your soul. There's just something about the crazy waves against the cliffs, the salt air, and the hidden caverns only accessible by boat. I'd want to bury my treasure here too. While we've only scratched the surface, I, for one, can't wait to see black sails on the horizon. Or maybe, just maybe, I'll find a buried treasure somewhere in the cliffs. One thing I know for certain, I will never stop searching for pirates.